Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you're doing great. I got a subscriber email with a question, and it was something that inspired me to make this video. And it's somebody that is in debt, deep in debt with student loans, and had a question for me. And so I wanted to address it here. Now, the question is, oh, here, let's just read you the email. She says, I saw your recent video about CBDC. I followed the rules of the world and received a PhD. Now I am 200,000 in student loan debt, and I'm not sure how quickly to become debt free and a lender. Do you have any suggestions for someone like myself who thought they were doing the right thing and ended up enslaved to this financial world and struggling to get out? So let me address a couple of things here. So first off, it's really interesting and exciting when we become enlightened, when we start to realize how the world works, how people tick. It's like that old adage, if I knew what I knew now, back when I was 20 or 25 or 30, name your age, I could rule the world. Well, the sad thing is, that's actually not true because people put time, a time weighted sort of scale on their age. When in reality, most people that are billionaires, multimillionaires, they actually gained that wealth from the years from 40 years old to 60. That's actually true. And you think about it, you may find yourself in life being 30 years old, 35 years old, 40 years old, you're burdened with debt and you don't have any way out, or you think you don't at least, and you're completely depressed about it. And I want you to understand that you have literally one third to one half of your life left. And that's one thing that people need to understand. You have to start looking at life as a glass half full, not a glass half empty. People that look at things like, I have a glass of water, and look, there's already some of it taken out. I'm already missing out. You spend more time dwelling about this little bit right here that's empty rather than looking at what you're going to be able to use this for. All right. That is the number one important thing. Now, the next thing is the one variable that we just don't know when it comes to education is, what did this person get their degree in? Right. And I see so many times people get degrees, and I'll give you an example. I know somebody that spent lots and lots of money to get their PhD in English. And then they went on to teach other people English. And they are one of the highest paid. And it's really sad because I believe it's still a little over six figures, um, running an English department in a major college in our country. Now, they took their degree and went to the pinnacle in their field, right? Still doesn't make enough to pay back debt, the loan debts, and all the other debts incurred. But it actually couldn't. So let me explain. So you got to find out, what's the degree in, but also what are you doing with it? I know so many people with a college degree that aren't even using it. As a matter of fact, they look back and they go, I could have gotten this job without a degree. Now, I'm not telling you not to go to school because we need highly educated people. However, our education system is not putting out highly educated people. It's putting out people that could regurgitate information. So you need to become a person that seeks out information, doesn't get stuff spoon fed to you, and then you're tested. And did I do a good enough job to relay it to you? But did I understand it? People need to be able to conceive and comprehend, mull over information and be able to dissect it, and then not only take it in and understand, remember it, but understand it and know how to use it, right? Well, when it comes to finance and money, the biggest problem with our system of debt, and let me stop here. I actually built an entire course on this. I charged 39 bucks for it. It's a dominate debt course. I'll put a link to it. If you are really finding yourself having a hard time learning how to write budgets and all that kind of stuff, it's there for you. I'll put the link below. I've never really advertised the course, but there is common sense nuts and bolts. I even do one lesson called the marriage saver, because there's so many people that don't understand when they get married how to deal with their bills, how to do their budgets, how to build a budget. Period. Um, but when people leave the education system, they're so pent up and they've been learning and learning and learning, and they finally go and get themselves a job. And it's akin to what happens with people that go into the military too. They get that first check, they've got three hots and a cot, and they've got money and they don't necessarily need to use it, so they go and blow it. And you see credit institutions fiending on military service members. You see credit institutions fiending on young college students. Why? Because they've sort of got the easy life right now, right? Little do they know they don't have the easy life, because right now they're living off of a bulk amount of money that got dropped in their bank account that someday they'll have to pay back, because they're not having to pay back today, they sort of lose reality, right? Well, then these credit card companies get you into a little bit more debt and then a little bit more, and then all of a sudden you go into the workforce and you have to pay the piper. And let's say you didn't even get into deep credit card debt while you're in college, but you're using student loans. You go and get that first job and you're like, I gotta look the part. I see so many young doctors and lawyers that literally go out and buy themselves a car that they can't afford, but they have to look the part. And ironically, they don't realize it. You are the part. You are a lawyer. You are a doctor. You are a teacher. You are a welder. You don't have to go and prove it to somebody by what you drive. You don't have to prove it to somebody by what you wear. I'm just as much of a firefighter at my work as the guys next to me. And they would drive these fancy cars. I would pull up in my little car. But when we're next to each other with our bunker gear on, we're doing the exact same job, right? We'd have guys that would put these big stickers. I knew one guy, I'm not joking. You guys ever seen those firefighters that run around with their stickers? I've never put one on my truck. It's like the whole get out of jail free card. It doesn't work. It has a couple times, but my point being is that we even saw guys with really big fire stickers. They're like, what are you compensating for? My point being is this: everybody tries to look the part rather than be the part. And so that's the one big thing. And I know I'm getting a little off topic, but I needed to give it that sort of baseline foundation to answer this question. So she asked, I've got myself into $200,000 in student loan debt. What do I do? Well, the first thing you do is do the opposite of everyone else. And you start working on paying that off. And I know it's not fun, it's not sexy, but that's the difference between being successful and financially fit or being a pauper, poor person. So what you would simply do is you would drive a beater. I drove a Jetta TDI, that a Ford F-350 truck and a Honda Civic all ran around the same time. All the paint was falling off. They sounded horrible. But I did it because I needed to save money and get out of debt for my family. I shopped at Kohl's. I My stuff in my house was mainly honestly from garage sales. For the first 20 years of my life, except for our beds, our mattresses, and things like that, we got everything secondhand. Uh, that's what it takes. And the problem is, our world is so materialistic, it drives you to take that credit card out of your pocket and turn it into a Louis Vuitton bag, or turn it into a designer dress. Um, and then it gets us enslaved. So the easiest answer, and it's the least sexy of them all, is to grind, to work on the weekends. There's so many people that say, I need my time. I just need it. Those are failures. I've never seen a successful person that sits back and goes, oh my gosh, I just need time to relax. Okay. I can't be working all the time. Those are people that are not successful. People that are successful actually like talking about the next hunt, the next goal, right? And they get around other excited people that are successful, and that's all they're talking about. Non-successful people are talking about, you know, the next vacation and doing that kind of stuff. I'm not joking, and I know I'm probably going to ruffle some feathers, but it's just the truth. High performing people, and that's what you have to ask yourself: am I a high performance person? And if the answer is yes, and you desire to get out of debt, I know it sounds crazy. It's the simplest answer: you just go get out of debt. You figure out things to buy and sell to take that profit and put it down on the loan. You Instead of buying a new car, you buy a beater, and then you take the payments that you would have paid on the car. You have your emergency account, and then you're paying down that debt. Um, there are so few people in this life that sort of lie to themselves and go, well, I'm going to, instead of paying off that debt because it's at, like, let's say 3%, I'm going to go over here and put my money in an account that's 5% and I'll take the profit. That's all well and good. But the problem is, there have been times in history where that investment might implode and then you're left with nothing. Oh, except for the debt you still have. And so that's the thing that people need to understand. And you need to also, as you lift your head up high and you go, you know what? The glass is, it's more than half full. I'm not going to focus on this. I'm going to focus on this. Look at this glass like your age. And you go, I'm not going to look at what I did wrong for the first 20 years of my life, for the first 40 years of my life. I'm going to look at what I learned from that moment. And then I'm going to apply it to this, the rest of my life. And once you get that in you and you start to find that joy that I'm going to crush it, I'm going to kill it. And honestly, go look at your competition, other human beings. All of them are in a rat race, running around trying to chase their own tail. And you go, okay, I got this. Once you get to that point, the debt will start to literally melt away. And when you do what's honorable, it really does come back to you. I wish I could explain it more. And it's hard to just talk to a camera when there's nobody asking me questions. Trust me, when people ask me questions, really cool stuff comes out. And I believe that's a blessing from God. But just know your life is nowhere near over. You have your entire life in front of you. And today, if you make the choice to get out of debt, you're going to get out of debt. Now, everybody in the comment section that's get out of debt or gotten out of debt and grinded, tell your stories. Encourage the people reading these comments because that is your testimony. And that is how we overcome adversity. All right, guys, I hope you got something out of this. The Economic Ninja is out.